Imagine a wealthy man with a heart full of remorse and a desire to make amends. Michael Johnson, a renowned millionaire known for his generosity and philanthropic efforts, decided to bring joy to the children at an orphanage with a grand Christmas celebration. The day was filled with laughter and excitement as Michael watched the children's faces light up with every gift. But amidst the festive cheer, a surprising and emotional revelation awaited him. As he interacted with the children, Michael encountered a boy named Matthew who bore an uncanny resemblance to his late son. This encounter led Michael on a profound and heart-wrenching journey of discovery and redemption, revealing truths that would change his life forever. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Billionaire Michael Johnson, renowned for his immense wealth and societal influence, made a poignant visit to an orphanage to spread joy through generous gifts. Little did he know, this visit would unveil a profound revelation that would leave him utterly astounded. At 39 years old, Michael stood as a towering figure of affluence and philanthropy in his city. His substantial fortune, amassed through a savvy real estate empire, was matched only by his dedication to charitable causes, a testament to his belief that kindness had the power to transform lives and ignite hope in the hearts of many. Born into modest beginnings, Michael's journey from a humble upbringing to becoming a prominent and influential businessman was marked by unrelenting ambition and tireless work. In his early years, his single-minded pursuit of financial success often veiled a degree of arrogance, as his focus remained sharply on his prosperity. His life revolved around business, with wealth being his primary objective. However, the love and devotion of his wife, Andrea, and their son, Joseph, who lit up his existence, brought a new dimension to his life. Andrea, with her nurturing spirit and belief in Michael's potential for goodness beyond his formidable exterior, saw the compassionate man within. Yet fate's cruel hand intervened 6 years prior, delivering a heart-wrenching blow that would forever alter Michael's path. A devastating car accident, caused by his momentary lapse in attention as he dozed off while driving home from a party, claimed the lives of his beloved wife Andrea and their precious son Joseph. This catastrophic event plunged him into a chasm of guilt and sorrow, leaving him to grapple with the realization that no material wealth could ever compensate for the irreplaceable loss of those he held dear. The sleepless nights that followed were haunted by the agonizing recollection of that fateful mistake. In the wake of such profound grief, Michael underwent a transformative shift in purpose. He resolved to channel his immense resources into making a meaningful impact on the lives of others. His fortune, once a mere symbol of personal triumph, was now dedicated to the noble cause of uplifting the less fortunate. He generously supported schools, hospitals, and various charitable organizations, striving to be a beacon of hope and positive change in a world desperately in need of it. On one of his heartfelt missions to aid those in need, Michael chose to visit an orphanage in a neighboring city, overseen by the kind-hearted Elizabeth. Upon his arrival, he was greeted with warmth and compassion by Elizabeth, a middle-aged woman whose gentle demeanor and empathetic eyes reflected the very essence of her dedication to the children in her care. This visit, which began with the intent of giving, would soon unveil a striking and emotionally charged connection that would profoundly impact Michael's life in ways he could never have anticipated. Elizabeth warmly guided Michael through the orphanage, showcasing the well-maintained facilities that still struggled with limited resources. She candidly shared the pressing challenges they faced: insufficient funds for the children's needs and a shortage of volunteers to provide the necessary care and attention. As Michael observed the children, their innocent faces stirred a deep ache within him, reminiscent of his son Joseph. Each child's laughter and hopeful eyes were a poignant reminder of what he had lost. During their heartfelt conversation, Elizabeth's eyes shone with tender hope as she spoke about the upcoming Christmas season. She dreamt of creating a magical celebration for the children, with presents that would bring them joy and a sense of belonging. Her genuine affection for the children and her dedication to their happiness was palpable, and Michael was deeply moved by her vision. Without hesitation, Michael resolved to turn Elizabeth's dream into a reality. He vowed to orchestrate an extraordinary Christmas celebration, a surprise that would fill the orphanage with festive cheer and wonder. Enlisting the support of his team, he meticulously planned every aspect of the event. He arranged for a professional Santa Claus to spread holiday joy, ordered a magnificent Christmas tree to serve as the centerpiece, and began selecting personalized gifts for each child, ranging from toys to clothes and books. Michael poured his heart into every detail, envisioning the delighted expressions on the children's faces. In the days leading up to the celebration, Michael immersed himself in preparations with a fervor that transformed his typically business-focused office into a festive haven. The room, usually reserved for serious discussions, was now adorned with twinkling lights, holiday decorations, and gift lists. As he chose each gift, he envisioned the magic of Christmas touching every child's life, rekindling their belief in the goodness of the world. As he worked tirelessly on the event, Michael reflected on his journey. He recalled Andrea's frequent reminders about the importance of generosity and how he had once been indifferent to her teachings. Now, he grasped the profound meaning behind her words. The meticulous planning and heartfelt dedication to the celebration were a testament to the transformation Michael had undergone. No longer merely a billionaire, he had evolved into a man who truly understood the essence of compassion and selfless giving. With Christmas approaching, Michael felt a blend of nervous anticipation and exhilaration. He knew that the upcoming event would not only bring immense joy to the children, but also provide him with a profound sense of fulfillment and redemption. The celebration symbolized more than just a festive occasion. It represented Michael's journey from a life of solitary wealth to one enriched by genuine empathy and the transformative power of kindness. What Michael could not have foreseen was that this act of generosity would lead to an astonishing revelation that would forever alter the course of his life. As he put the finishing touches on the Christmas celebration, he glanced at an old photograph of Andrea and Joseph resting on his desk. The sight of their smiling faces filled him with a profound sense of closeness and nostalgia, reinforcing his resolve to honor their memory, not just with words, but through meaningful actions that would touch the lives of others. The day of the grand event arrived, and the orphanage was alive with a palpable buzz of excitement and energy. The atmosphere was transformed into a winter wonderland, with vibrant garlands, sparkling lights, and meticulously hung ornaments adorning the walls. At the heart of the main hall stood a majestic Christmas tree, resplendent with shimmering lights and an array of colorful ornaments. The delightful aroma of freshly baked cookies and steaming hot chocolate filled the air, completing the enchanting holiday ambience. Michael, accompanied by his dedicated team and a professional Santa Claus in a meticulously crafted red suit and fluffy white beard, arrived early. The sight of him ignited a flurry of enthusiasm among the children, who erupted in joyous cheers and hurried to greet him. Elizabeth, the warm-hearted director of the orphanage, greeted them with a radiant smile and eyes brimming with gratitude. "Welcome, welcome," Elizabeth exclaimed with heartfelt enthusiasm. "The children are thrilled. They have no idea about the wonderful surprise that awaits them." Michael beamed with satisfaction as he absorbed the infectious energy of the children. The effort and love he had poured into this celebration were rewarded by the sheer delight evident on their faces. The moment of gift-giving commenced, and the children eagerly formed a line, their eyes sparkling with anticipation. Santa, with a twinkle in his eye, called out each child's name and handed them a meticulously wrapped present. The room filled with laughter, gasps of surprise, and expressions of pure joy with each unwrapped gift. Michael, standing at the sidelines, watched with a heart full of warmth and happiness, marveling at the profound impact of his actions. Amidst the festive chaos, Michael's heart swelled with a newfound sense of fulfillment. He had not only created a magical Christmas for the children, but also rediscovered the true essence of compassion and generosity. The experience, brimming with joy and emotional significance, marked a pivotal moment in his life, revealing that the act of giving could lead to transformative and unexpected blessings. As the children excitedly tore open their gifts, Michael meandered through the bustling hall, savoring the heartfelt reactions and infectious joy that filled the air. Each delighted smile and look of astonishment was a poignant reminder of why he had committed himself so wholeheartedly to philanthropy. Yet, amidst the sea of joyful faces, one child caught Michael's eye. Seated quietly in a secluded corner, away from the revelry, was a boy with untidy brown hair and wide, inquisitive eyes. His solitary demeanor and shy expression intrigued Michael, compelling him to approach with a gift specially wrapped for this moment. "Hello there, may I join you?" Michael asked softly, his voice carrying a gentle warmth. The boy, his gaze fixed on the floor, remained silent. Michael, undeterred, took a seat beside him and extended the gift with a kind smile. "This is for you. I hope it brings you joy." With a cautious nod, the boy accepted the gift, his small hands trembling slightly. As he began to unwrap the package, the shiny remote-controlled car inside slowly came into view. The boy's eyes widened with a mix of awe and gratitude. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice barely more than a breath. "You're welcome." "What's your name?" Michael inquired, his curiosity piqued. "Matthew," the boy responded, still fixated on the toy. When Matthew finally raised his gaze to meet Michael's, a jolt of recognition surged through him. There was something profoundly familiar about the boy, something that felt eerily like a reflection of his own younger self. The striking similarity was impossible to ignore: the same facial contours, the same expressive eyes that seemed to hold a universe of emotions. Michael's heart raced, and he could feel the sweat forming on his brow as he grappled with the disorienting sensation of looking into a mirror of his past. The room seemed to blur around him as the weight of the moment sank in. This encounter, this seemingly ordinary interaction, was suddenly charged with an unexpected and overwhelming emotional significance. Michael's hands shook slightly as he tried to process the startling resemblance and what it might mean for his own life and the journey he had embarked upon. "Do you like remote-controlled cars?" Michael asked, struggling to keep his voice steady as he faced the boy's innocent gaze. Matthew nodded eagerly, his eyes sparkling with unfiltered joy. "Yes, very much. I've never had one before." Michael took a deep breath, grappling with the whirlwind of emotions that threatened to overwhelm him. The sight of Matthew was a haunting echo of his son Joseph, stirring up painful memories and an unsettling sense of familiarity. The striking resemblance between the two boys was not just uncanny, it was deeply disturbing. After distributing the remaining gifts, Michael excused himself and sought out Elizabeth, his mind racing with questions and a sense of urgency. "Elizabeth, could I have a moment of your time?" he asked, his tone more serious than usual as he approached her near the towering Christmas tree. "Of course, Michael." "Is everything all right?" Elizabeth inquired, her concern evident as she noted the intense look on his face. "I met a boy named Matthew today. There's something about him, he bears an eerie resemblance to someone I knew a long time ago. Could you tell me more about him?" Michael's voice was filled with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. Elizabeth nodded, leading him to a quieter corner of the hall where they could speak privately. "Matthew is 7 years old. He came to the orphanage as an infant. We don't have exact details about his birth or the precise circumstances. The story we were given, from a note found with him, is that his parents died in an accident. The person who left him here couldn't care for him and brought him to us." As Elizabeth spoke, Michael felt a cold shiver run down his spine. The details of Matthew's background were strikingly similar to the tragedy that had befallen his own family. Michael thanked Elizabeth, though his mind was already elsewhere. He needed to return home and sift through the flood of thoughts and emotions that had been stirred by this encounter. Upon arriving home, Michael retrieved an old photograph of his family, a poignant reminder of the past. The accident that claimed the lives of his beloved wife Andrea and their son Joseph had occurred exactly 6 years ago. Michael had fallen asleep at the wheel, and upon awakening from a 3-month coma, he was met with the devastating news of their deaths. The burden of guilt had since consumed him, and now Matthew's story was refusing to leave his thoughts. The coincidences seemed too significant to dismiss, and a deep, unshakable feeling within him suggested that this connection was more than mere chance. He was determined to uncover the truth, driven by an inner conviction that the bond between Matthew and his past was profound and possibly life-changing. In the days that followed their heartwarming Christmas celebration, Michael's unease only deepened. The story of Matthew and the unsettling resemblance between them became an inescapable shadow, consuming his thoughts day and night. The more he replayed the moment he first saw the boy, the more he became convinced that there was something profoundly significant about their connection. Driven by an urgent need for clarity and an unshakable sense of destiny, Michael decided it was time to seek the counsel of his longtime lawyer and confidant, Richard Morales. Richard had been more than just a legal advisor to Michael. He had been a steadfast ally through numerous critical junctures in his life. Known for his unwavering integrity and profound wisdom, Richard guided Michael through both triumphs and tribulations with grace and expertise. As Michael entered Richard's elegantly appointed office, he was greeted with the familiar warmth and professionalism that had always characterized their interactions. Richard rose from his plush leather chair, extending his hand in a gesture of genuine welcome. "Michael, it's always a pleasure to see you. What brings you here today?" Richard's voice was a comforting balm, his eyes reflecting both curiosity and concern. Michael accepted the handshake, feeling a brief moment of solace in Richard's steady presence. As he settled into the chair opposite his lawyer, he took a deep breath, trying to steady the tumult of emotions that surged within him. His heart raced as he began to recount the details of the troubling experience that had consumed his thoughts. "Richard, I need your help with something that's been weighing heavily on me. Recently, I visited an orphanage that I support, and I met a boy named Matthew. He's just 7 years old. But something is astonishing about him. He looked remarkably like me when I was a child. The resemblance is so striking that it feels like I'm looking at a younger version of myself. This resemblance has triggered a wave of emotions and memories, and I can't help but feel that there's a deeper connection here. I'm even considering the possibility of adopting him. Before I take any steps in that direction, I need to understand more about his background. I need to confirm whether there is, in fact, a biological link between us." Richard listened intently, his expression growing increasingly serious as he absorbed the full weight of Michael's revelation. He could see that this was not merely a fleeting curiosity, but a matter of profound emotional significance. His mind quickly assessed the practical and legal implications of such a situation. "I understand, Michael. This is certainly an extraordinary and deeply personal matter. If you are serious about the possibility of adopting Matthew and exploring any potential biological connection, we need to proceed with caution and thoroughness. The first and most crucial step is to establish whether there is a genetic link between you and the boy. A DNA test would be the most definitive way to confirm this. It's important to approach this with care, ensuring that all legal and emotional aspects are addressed properly." Michael nodded, feeling a mix of relief and trepidation. He understood the gravity of Richard's advice and recognized the necessity of taking these steps. The prospect of uncovering the truth was both daunting and exhilarating. Michael knew that the journey ahead would be emotionally charged and fraught with challenges, but he was resolute in his determination to find answers. The connection he felt to Matthew, however mysterious, was too compelling to ignore, and he was committed to exploring it fully. As he left Richard's office, Michael felt a sense of resolve settles over him. The path he was about to embark upon was laden with uncertainty, but he was driven by a deep-seated conviction that the answers he sought were essential for both his peace of mind and the possibility of bringing new meaning into his life. Michael's heart raced as he pondered Richard's words, a swirl of apprehension and hope coursing through him. "And what if we find out there's no biological connection?" he asked, his voice tinged with both fear and hope. "What would that mean for us?" Richard's gaze remained steady and reassuring. If a biological connection is not established, it doesn't necessarily end your desire to adopt Matthew. However, it would make the process more complicated. The courts would need to evaluate your suitability as an adoptive parent, which involves scrutinizing your financial stability, emotional readiness, and overall capacity to provide a nurturing environment for the child. The key thing, though, is to start by determining the truth. Everything hinges on knowing where you stand. Michael absorbed Richard's response, feeling a knot tighten in his stomach. The weight of what lay ahead was palpable. He understood that uncovering the truth, no matter how it unfolded, would forever alter his life. Determined to seek answers, Michael and Richard made their way to the orphanage. The building, with its modest charm, seemed a world away from the opulence of Michael's usual surroundings. Elizabeth greeted them at the entrance with a mixture of curiosity and concern. Her eyes, reflecting both kindness and a hint of apprehension, met Michael's as he approached her. "Elizabeth," Michael began, trying to keep his voice steady despite the flutter of nerves, "I need to ask for your assistance with something quite sensitive. I must learn more about Matthew. I would like to take him to a hospital for some tests. This is a delicate matter, and I hope you can understand the importance of this step." Elizabeth's expression softened as she absorbed the gravity of Michael's request. She could sense the depth of his concern and the significance of the situation. After a moment of contemplation, she nodded in agreement. "I trust you," Michael, Elizabeth said earnestly. "I'll inform Matthew about the plans. When would you like to arrange this?" "Tomorrow morning," Michael replied, feeling a surge of relief that Elizabeth was willing to support him. "I'll take care of all the arrangements. Thank you for understanding." With that settled, Michael felt a glimmer of hope amidst his anxiety. He knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges and emotional turbulence, but he was driven by a profound sense of purpose. The next day would bring crucial answers, and with Elizabeth's support, he was one step closer to unraveling the mystery that had captured his heart and mind. The next morning dawned crisp and bright as Michael arrived at the orphanage to pick up Matthew. The boy's face, a mix of curiosity and nervousness, lit up with a faint smile when he saw Michael. As they walked hand in hand, Matthew's small fingers gripping Michael's firmly, he looked up and asked, "Are we going to the hospital?" Michael, determined to ease Matthew's apprehension, offered a warm smile. "Yes, Matthew, but it's just for some simple tests. Nothing to worry about, I promise." The drive to the hospital was filled with an air of anxious anticipation. Michael tried to keep the atmosphere light, engaging Matthew in gentle conversation and reassuring him with comforting words. When they arrived, the bustling environment of the hospital seemed to mirror Michael's internal turmoil. The tests were conducted swiftly and with the utmost professionalism, but each passing minute felt like an eternity for Michael, his heart racing with every tick of the clock. Finally, after what seemed like an endless wait, the doctor appeared with the crucial envelope in hand. Michael took the envelope, his hands trembling slightly, his mind already racing with 100 questions. He thanked the doctor and, with Matthew by his side, made his way back to the car. The drive back was tense, the silence punctuated only by the soft hum of the engine. Once inside the car, Michael's hands were unsteady as he opened the envelope. His fingers carefully unfolded the document, and as he scanned the contents, his breath caught in his throat. The test results were unequivocal. Matthew was indeed his biological son. The weight of the revelation hit Michael with the force of a thunderclap. He was overwhelmed by a surge of emotions, tears welling up in his eyes. Turning to Matthew, who was seated quietly beside him, Michael's voice quivered as he spoke. "Matthew, I have something incredibly important to tell you." He paused, his voice catching in his throat. You're my son whom I thought I had lost forever." Matthew's eyes widened in surprise and confusion, trying to comprehend the gravity of Michael's words. Despite his uncertainty, there was a profound sense of trust and safety in Michael's voice. Without fully grasping the implications, Matthew instinctively reached out and embraced Michael tightly. "Daddy," Matthew whispered, the word carrying a depth of longing and connection that bridged the gap of years and loss. At that moment, Michael felt his heart swell with an overwhelming tide of love and relief. He held Matthew close, tears streaming down his face as he reveled in the unexpected reunion. The ache of years lost, the guilt, and the longing were momentarily soothed by the presence of the son he had feared he would never see again. This was not just a discovery of biological connection, it was a reclamation of a bond that transcended time and sorrow. At that profound moment, when Michael realized that Matthew was indeed his lost son, all the accumulated pain, guilt, and regret that had shadowed his life began to dissolve. It was as if a heavy curtain had been lifted, revealing the dawn of a new chapter. The boy he had mourned for years had reappeared, bringing with him not just a semblance of the past, but the promise of a future brimming with healing, hope, and boundless love. The transformation in Michael's life was nothing short of miraculous. With a heart full of renewed purpose, he took the legal steps necessary to officially adopt Matthew, embracing the boy as his son once more. Their home, once a space of solemn reflection and muted dreams, now thrummed with vibrant joy and warmth that Michael had never imagined possible. The laughter of a child filled the air, the echoes of which seemed to chase away the shadows of loneliness that had lingered for so long. Michael's dedication to philanthropy deepened, now fueled by a profound sense of purpose and a personal connection to the causes he supported. He understood more than ever the impact of his efforts, recognizing that his own life had been transformed by an act of compassion, and he was determined to extend that transformative power to others. Each charitable endeavor now carried an added layer of significance, as Michael saw them through the lens of his redemption. Matthew's once hesitant and uncertain gaze began to sparkle with anticipation and joy. Each visit from Michael was eagerly awaited, with Matthew counting down the days until they could be together again. The connection they shared grew stronger with each passing day, cementing a bond that had been rekindled against all odds. For Michael, these visits were more than just moments of joy, they were a healing salve for his soul, filling a void he hadn't fully recognized until it was filled. The transition from Matthew being just another child in an orphanage to becoming an integral part of Michael's life was both poignant and powerful. Michael was resolute in his commitment to making this newfound bond permanent, pouring every ounce of his energy into ensuring that Matthew's life was filled with the love, stability, and security he had longed for. As they built their life together, Michael found himself on a path that was not only about personal fulfillment, but also about sharing the gift of renewed hope and love with the world. Michael's heart raced as Lewis continued, each word adding weight to the already heavy load of his emotions. The pieces of the puzzle seemed to be falling into place, but the picture they formed was both thrilling and daunting. "Mr. Johnson," Lewis said, his tone measured and serious. "The initial report from the accident mentions that the baby was evaluated at the hospital, but the records about what happened to him afterward are unclear. It's possible that there was some error or a missing piece of information in the documentation." Michael's mind raced. The idea that the baby from the accident could be Matthew was both exhilarating and overwhelming. He tried to process the enormity of the situation. Matthew could very well be his biological son, the child he had thought lost forever. "Is there anything else you can find out about what happened to the baby after the hospital?" Michael asked urgently. "Any follow-up records or information that could clarify what happened next?" Lewis nodded. "I'm working on accessing additional archives and contacting former hospital staff who might recall more details. It's crucial to verify the connection fully before we can draw any conclusions." Michael's gaze was fixed on Lewis, his mind filled with questions and a glimmer of hope. "Thank you for your hard work, Lewis. Please keep me updated on any new information you uncover. This means more to me than you can imagine." As Lewis left the office, Michael was left alone with his thoughts. He stared out the window, the cloudy afternoon mirroring his mood. The prospect of finally confirming Matthew's identity as his son was both a source of immense hope and a reminder of the years of pain and separation. Over the following days, Michael continued to support Matthew and bond with him, cherishing each moment they spent together. He remained optimistic but also anxious, knowing that the results of Lewis's investigation could change everything. Every interaction with Matthew, every shared laugh and moment of connection, was imbued with a new layer of significance. Then, a few days later, Lewis returned with an update. Michael's heart leaped as he saw the determined look on Lewis's face. "Mr. Johnson, I've got some significant news. After much searching and several inquiries, I was able to track down additional records and speak with former hospital staff. It appears that the baby from the accident was indeed placed in the orphanage shortly after being found. The timing and details align with Matthew's arrival at the orphanage." Michael felt a wave of relief and joy wash over him. The confirmation he had been hoping for was finally within reach. He knew that this discovery would be life-changing for both him and Matthew. The journey to reunite with his son, fraught with uncertainty and emotion, had led to this incredible moment of truth. As Michael processed the news, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was determined to make sure that Matthew's life was filled with the love, stability, and support he deserved. With the knowledge of their biological connection now confirmed, Michael began planning their future together with even greater hope and commitment. Michael's journey had come full circle, transforming from a search for answers into a heartfelt reunion that would shape the rest of their lives. The bond between father and son was stronger than ever, and their story became a testament to the incredible ways in which life could bring people back together, even against the odds. Michael's mind reeled from the revelation. The names Andrea and Michael in the accident report added an uncanny twist to an already surreal situation. He felt as though he was on the brink of discovering something monumental, yet the confusion only deepened with each new piece of information. "How is this even possible?" Michael asked, his voice tinged with frustration and desperation. "If these are indeed my names, then how could this have happened? I was there in that accident. Andrea and Joseph were gone, and I thought I was the only survivor." Lewis, sensing the gravity of the situation, maintained his calm demeanor. "It's clear that there's a deeper layer to this case that we need to uncover. We might be dealing with errors or discrepancies in the records. I'll dig into the hospital's archives further, and I'll also try to locate any surviving witnesses who might have been present at the scene." Michael nodded, though his mind was still in turmoil. He felt a mixture of hope and dread, his emotions swinging between the possibility of a miraculous reunion and the fear of uncovering unsettling truths. He knew he had to get to the bottom of this. In the following days, Lewis worked diligently, expanding his search to include historical records and reaching out to former hospital staff. Michael remained in close contact with him, anxiously awaiting any updates. Meanwhile, Michael spent more time with Matthew, cherishing every moment. Their bond deepened with each passing day, and Michael found solace in the connection they shared. Yet the uncertainty surrounding Matthew's origins loomed over him, casting a shadow over their newfound happiness. One evening, as Michael and Matthew were enjoying a quiet moment together, Lewis called with a breakthrough. Michael answered the phone, his heart pounding with anticipation. "Mr. Johnson, I've uncovered something important," Lewis said, his tone serious but hopeful. "I've located additional records from the hospital and interviewed several former staff members. It appears there was indeed a significant clerical error. The names Andrea and Michael were incorrectly attributed to the accident report. The records were mixed up with another case, which explains the confusion." Michael's heart skipped a beat. "So what does this mean for Matthew and me?" "It means that the documents were inaccurately recorded, and the accident you experienced was indeed your own. However, the records about the baby Matthew are consistent with him being placed in the orphanage after being found at the scene," Lewis explained. "It confirms that the baby you've connected with is indeed your biological son, but the initial confusion stemmed from an administrative error." Relief washed over Michael, mingled with lingering questions. The clarity he had sought was now within reach, but the path to understanding the full story was still unfolding. "Thank you, Lewis. I appreciate your dedication to unraveling this mystery," Michael said, his voice filled with gratitude. "What do we do next?" "Now that we have a clearer picture, we can proceed with the formal adoption process. The confirmation of Matthew being your biological son means that legally and emotionally, you can move forward with adopting him," Lewis replied. "I'll assist you with the legalities and ensure everything is in order." Michael hung up the phone, a wave of emotions flooding over him. The journey to reunite with Matthew had been fraught with uncertainty and revelation, but now there was a sense of resolution. The connection between them was real and profound, and Michael was eager to build a future with his son. In the days that followed, Michael and Matthew's lives began to stabilize into a new, hopeful routine. Michael's home was filled with laughter and joy as they settled into their roles as father and son. Michael's philanthropic efforts took on a new dimension, driven by the personal transformation and healing he had experienced. The story of Michael and Matthew became a testament to the unexpected turns life can take and the resilience of the human spirit. It served as a reminder that even in the face of confusion and adversity, there is always hope for healing and redemption. As they moved forward together, Michael and Matthew embraced their second chance, building a life filled with love, understanding, and shared dreams. Michael's resolve solidified with each passing day. The swirling mix of hope and apprehension had become overwhelming, but he knew that uncovering the truth was crucial for his peace of mind and Matthew's future. With Richard's support, Michael began the necessary preparations for the DNA test. Richard meticulously organized the legal and procedural aspects. He ensured that everything would be handled with the utmost confidentiality to safeguard Matthew's privacy and well-being. They arranged for a reputable lab to perform the test, and all necessary permissions and documentation were prepared to avoid any complications. Meanwhile, Michael focused on providing Matthew with stability and comfort during this period of uncertainty. The boy's innocent trust and affection were a source of both joy and heartache for Michael. He cherished every moment spent with Matthew, aware that their time together was filled with bittersweet anticipation. On the day of the test, Michael picked up Matthew from the orphanage with a reassuring smile. "We're going to the doctor for a quick checkup, Matthew. It's nothing to worry about, just a routine visit." Matthew, trusting Michael's calm demeanor, nodded and accompanied him. At the clinic, the staff conducted the DNA test with professionalism and sensitivity. The procedure was straightforward, but Michael felt a weight lift off his shoulders once it was done. The waiting period for the results seemed interminable, but he knew it was a necessary step. During the wait, Michael and Matthew spent more quality time together. They visited parks, played games, and had heart-to-heart conversations that strengthened their bond. Despite the looming uncertainty, these moments brought both of them comfort. Finally, the day came when Richard called with the results. Michael's heart raced as he answered the phone. "Mr. Johnson, the results are in," Richard said. "I've reviewed them, and I think it's best if we discuss them in person." Michael agreed and hurried to Richard's office. The anticipation was almost unbearable. Richard greeted him with a sympathetic smile as he ushered Michael into his office. "Michael, I have the results here," Richard began, holding a sealed envelope. "I know this has been an emotional journey for you, and I want to be as clear as possible." Michael's hands trembled as he took the envelope and carefully opened it. Richard's calm presence provided some solace as Michael unfolded the document. The results were unequivocal. Matthew was indeed his biological son. The confirmation was a profound relief, but also a source of intense emotion. "Michael, I can only imagine what you're feeling right now," Richard said, his tone respectful and understanding. "The results confirm that Matthew is your son. You now have the legal and emotional validation of the bond you've already felt." Michael's eyes filled with tears as he absorbed the gravity of the results. The weight of past regrets and the depth of his love for Matthew intertwined in a moment of profound clarity. "Thank you, Richard. I appreciate all your help in this. Now I need to focus on Matthew and our future together." Richard nodded, offering a supportive smile. "If you need any further assistance with the adoption process or any other legal matters, please let me know. I'm here to help." Michael left the office with a sense of newfound purpose. The truth about Matthew had been confirmed, and the path forward was clearer. He was determined to build a future with his son, ensuring that their relationship would be nurtured and cherished. Upon returning to the orphanage, Michael sat down with Elizabeth to discuss the next steps. He shared the results with her, emphasizing that he wanted to adopt Matthew officially. Elizabeth was supportive and relieved, knowing that Matthew would have a loving family. The adoption process proceeded smoothly, with Michael and Matthew becoming a legally recognized family. Their lives began to transform as they settled into their new roles. Michael's philanthropic work continued, now with an even deeper sense of purpose. He dedicated himself to ensuring that Matthew's life would be filled with love, stability, and opportunity. The story of Michael and Matthew became an inspiring example of redemption and love. Their bond, forged through both heartache and joy, demonstrated the power of perseverance and the incredible ways in which life could bring healing and connection. Their journey together was a testament to the enduring strength of family and the extraordinary ways in which destiny can intertwine lives. The moment of truth had finally arrived. As the nurse finished collecting the samples, Michael could hardly contain his anxiety. He watched as the nurse carefully labeled the vials and prepared them for transport to the lab. "You're doing great," Michael said, trying to offer some comfort as the nurse wrapped a small bandage around the boy's arm. Matthew looked up at him with a mixture of curiosity and trust. "When will we know the results, Michael?" "Hopefully it won't be too long," Michael replied, ruffling Matthew's hair gently. "We'll have to wait a bit, but I'll keep you updated." After leaving the clinic, Michael decided to treat Matthew to a small lunch. They stopped at a nearby cafe where they shared a meal, talking and laughing as they enjoyed their time together. Michael found solace in Matthew's company, even as his mind raced with thoughts about the impending results. Back at his office, Richard worked diligently to ensure the DNA test was processed as quickly as possible. He understood the emotional weight of the situation and was committed to providing Michael with the answers he needed. Days turned into weeks as Michael waited for the results. He continued to spend quality time with Matthew, building their bond and creating cherished memories. Each visit to the orphanage became more meaningful, with Matthew growing more comfortable and eager for their time together. One crisp winter morning, Richard called Michael to inform him that the results were ready. Michael's heart raced as he arranged to meet Richard in his office. He knew this was the moment that would change everything. Arriving at Richard's office, Michael found his lawyer waiting with a solemn but supportive demeanor. Richard greeted him and gestured for Michael to sit. "Michael, I have the results here," Richard said, holding the envelope with the test results. "I can tell you that the results confirm the biological relationship." Michael took the envelope, his hands trembling. He carefully opened it and unfolded the document. His eyes scanned the text, and when he reached the final statement, he could hardly believe it. The test confirmed that Matthew was indeed his biological son. A flood of emotions overwhelmed Michael. The sense of relief, joy, and disbelief combined into a powerful surge of feelings. He looked up at Richard, who offered a supportive smile. "Thank you, Richard," Michael said, his voice choked with emotion. I don't even know how to express what I'm feeling right now." Richard nodded understandingly. "It's a lot to process. If you need help with the adoption process or anything else, just let me know. This is a significant step, and you're not alone in this." Michael thanked Richard again and left the office with a mixture of exhilaration and trepidation. The confirmation of Matthew's identity was a profound relief, but it also marked the beginning of a new chapter filled with uncertainties and possibilities. That evening, Michael went to the orphanage to share the news with Elizabeth and Matthew. Elizabeth greeted him with a look of curiosity, and Matthew was excited to see him. "Elizabeth, I wanted to let you know that the DNA test results are in," Michael began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Matthew is indeed my son. The results confirm it." Elizabeth's eyes widened in surprise, but she quickly composed herself. "That's incredible news, Michael. I'm so happy for both of you." Turning to Matthew, Michael knelt to his level. "Matthew, I have something very special to tell you. You're my son. I've always wanted to be with you, and now we have confirmation. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we're a family." Matthew's eyes sparkled with a mix of confusion and excitement. "Really? Does that mean we can be together all the time?" "Yes," Michael said, smiling warmly. "We can be together all the time. I'm going to adopt you officially, and we'll have a home where we can build new memories together." Matthew's face lit up with joy as he hugged Michael tightly. Michael felt a profound sense of fulfillment and connection. The journey had been long and filled with uncertainties, but it had led to this moment of profound happiness. Over the following weeks, the adoption process moved forward smoothly. Michael and Matthew became a legally recognized family, and their lives began to flourish with new possibilities. Michael continued his philanthropic work with renewed passion, driven by the knowledge that his life had been transformed by the incredible bond he shared with his son. Matthew's presence brought a new sense of purpose and joy to Michael's life. Their story of reunion and love became an inspiring example of how life's unexpected twists could lead to the most profound and rewarding experiences. As they embarked on this new chapter together, Michael and Matthew cherished every moment, knowing that their journey had been a testament to the enduring power of family and the miraculous ways in which life could bring them together. As Michael walked into Richard's office, the weight of the moment pressed heavily on him. Richard stood up from behind his desk and greeted Michael with a reassuring nod. "Good morning, Michael. Please, have a seat," Richard said, gesturing to the chair opposite him. Michael sat down, his heart pounding with anticipation. The unopened envelope on Richard's desk seemed to be a physical embodiment of all his fears and hopes. Richard cleared his throat and began. "I've received the results from the lab. Before we go over them, I want to remind you that whatever the outcome, we will address it together and handle it with care." Michael nodded, his eyes fixed on the envelope. "Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that." Richard slowly opened the envelope and withdrew the document. He glanced at it, then looked back at Michael. The results confirm that Matthew is indeed your biological son. The words hung in the air, their weight settling over Michael. For a moment, he felt a surreal sense of disbelief. His mind raced as he absorbed the reality of the situation. He had hoped for this outcome, but had also braced himself for the possibility of disappointment. Now the confirmation was undeniable. I can hardly believe it, Michael said, his voice barely above a whisper. All this time I felt this connection with Matthew, but hearing this officially, it's overwhelming. Richard nodded sympathetically. I understand. This is a lot to take in. The next steps will involve formalizing the adoption process, which will ensure that Matthew becomes your legally recognized child. We'll need to handle this with care to make sure everything goes smoothly. Michael took a deep breath, trying to steady his emotions. I want to move forward with the adoption. I want to make sure Matthew has a secure future with me. Richard smiled, clearly relieved by Michael's determination. That's a great decision. I'll start preparing the necessary paperwork and arrange for a meeting with the adoption agency. We'll make sure everything is done properly and in Matthew's best interest. As Michael left Richard's office, holding the confirmation of his son's identity, a mixture of relief and exhilaration enveloped him. He was filled with a renewed sense of purpose and determination to build a life with Matthew. The journey ahead was clear, but the path was illuminated by the light of their newfound bond. That evening, Michael visited the orphanage to share the news with Matthew. Elizabeth greeted him with a warm smile, and Matthew's face brightened as he saw Michael. Hi, Matthew, Michael said, kneeling to Matthew's level. I have something very special to tell you. Matthew's eyes sparkled with curiosity. What is it, Michael? Michael took Matthew's small hands in his own and said, the results from the test came back, and they confirmed that you're my son. I've wanted to tell you for a long time, but now it's official. We're family. Matthew's eyes widened in surprise, and a big smile spread across his face. Really? That means we can be together all the time. Yes, Michael said, his voice filled with emotion. We can be together. I'm going to adopt you officially, and we'll have a home where we can create many wonderful memories. Matthew threw his arms around Michael in a tight hug, tears of joy welling up in his eyes. I'm so happy, Daddy. Michael held Matthew close, feeling a profound sense of completion. The bond they had nurtured over the past weeks now had a solid foundation, and their future together seemed full of promise. As they spent the evening together, sharing stories and laughter, Michael felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The path ahead was now clear, and he was eager to embrace this new chapter with his son, knowing that their journey together had only just begun. The goal of finding Joseph alive was overwhelming, but so were the challenges ahead. Michael felt a deep sense of urgency to bring his son home and provide him with the stable, loving environment he deserved. Each visit to the orphanage was now tinged with the excitement of what was to come. Michael engaged in conversations with Matthew, now Joseph, about the future without revealing the full extent of the upcoming changes. He wanted to ensure that Joseph felt secure and loved during this transition period. One day, while reading a story to Joseph, Michael looked at him with a tenderness that spoke volumes. You know, Joseph, we've got some big changes coming up. I want to make sure that you know how much I care about you and how excited I am for us to be together all the time. Joseph looked up from the book, his innocent eyes reflecting trust and curiosity. What kind of changes, Daddy? Michael smiled, though his heart ached with the bittersweet knowledge of the separation Joseph had endured. Well, soon you'll be coming to live with me. We'll have our own home and you'll have your room. It will be a fresh start for us both. Joseph's face lit up with joy. Really? That sounds amazing. I can't wait to see our new home. Michael's heart swelled with emotion. He was filled with both relief and anticipation as he thought about the day Joseph would leave the orphanage and start a new life with him. He was determined to make this transition as smooth as possible, ensuring that Joseph felt welcomed and cherished. As the days went by, Richard worked diligently to expedite the adoption process. He coordinated with the adoption agency and prepared all the necessary legal documents. Michael was in constant contact with Richard, eager to move forward and bring Joseph home. Finally, the day arrived when all the legal formalities were completed. Michael was officially recognized as Joseph's father. The paperwork was signed and the adoption was finalized. The moment Michael had dreamed of was now a reality. On the day of the transition, Michael arrived at the orphanage with a mix of excitement and nervousness. Elizabeth greeted him with a warm smile, and Michael could see the happiness in her eyes for Joseph. He had prepared a small farewell party for Joseph, complete with balloons and treats, to make the day special. When Joseph came out to greet Michael, he was beaming with joy. Michael embraced him tightly, feeling a profound sense of completion. The transition to their new life together was just beginning, and Michael was committed to making it as joyful and fulfilling as possible. The journey to their new home was filled with laughter and conversation. Joseph marveled at the sights and sounds of his new environment, and Michael took every opportunity to reassure him and make him feel at ease. As they settled into their new home, Michael and Joseph began to build their lives together. The home was filled with warmth and love, a stark contrast to the uncertainty of the past months. Michael cherished every moment with his son, watching him grow and thrive in their new life. The story of Michael and Joseph's reunion became a testament to the extraordinary twists of fate and the power of hope. Their journey was a powerful reminder that even in the face of overwhelming challenges, love and determination could lead to profound and beautiful outcomes. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey of discovery and reunion. Michael and Joseph's story is a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the unexpected twists that life can take. Through this emotional and transformative experience, we've witnessed the healing power of love, the importance of perseverance, and the profound impact of finding closure and new beginnings. As we reflect on this story, we encourage you to think about what you have learned. What lessons have resonated with you? How might you apply these insights to your own life? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, one thing you've learned and how you plan to bring it into practice. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiring content. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue sharing meaningful stories. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.